Greetings, greetings, greetings. My name is T. Edra Jackson, visionary and founder of Kingsskid, and this is Self-Improvement Month. I'm super, super excited about our guest, Destiny Brown. Destiny Brown is the founder of This Is Grace. It's a movement committed to helping women heal and progress in their walk with Christ. And we all need to progress in that walk. We all need Christ. And I love Destiny's mission for This Is Grace. And I want her to share her journey with us. Destiny, I'm so happy to have you.
Happy to be here. I'm not gonna give a lot. This is pretty dope.
So I want you to tell us about your journey. Like, how did you get here?
Honestly, and I know you're gonna probably be like, really, child, like really, but honestly, it is truly God's grace, because I sat back to really reflect on that, and I'm just like, I don't have a solid answer for it because I've been through hell and back, and it's been rough. And how I got to this point, it was truly just God's grace, because I couldn't have done it on my own. And with me even saying that, like, I had the help of community, praying for me when I couldn't pray for myself and so forth. So it's like there was truly like a team, a community of godly women, or just godly people in general, like surrounding me to help me through it. Because my mentor, she would even tell you, like, I was to the point where I'm like, I'm done, giving up, even a point where I didn't believe in Christ. So honestly, it's nothing but His grace.
So I want to dive deeper into that. What does grace mean?
Unmerited, unearned, undeserved favor. And that's exactly what I look at it as, because this is grace stemmed from my, I wouldn't even say like the biggest sin, because a sin is a sin. Like, grace says that you're in the same boat as me. So it's one of those things where it's like, I try not to put a tag on the sin, if that makes sense. But this is grace stemmed from an abortion that I had when I was I just made 20. And I beat myself up for years, 4 years, and I didn't understand God's grace. But I had an encounterment with Him where I was truly I had nowhere else to turn, nowhere else to go. And even when I didn't believe in Him, it was like He was still faithful to me. And I remember being invited to this worship night. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go, like, whatever. It was like October, like in the beginning. I remember it like it was yesterday, mad crazy. So I'm in there, I'm like, this is different, but I let it go. I'm in worship, and there was this song that was on, and it was like I was in the middle of praying, and it was just like He hit me, and was just like the lyrics, like in that moment, it's just like it resonated with me. And it says, it makes no sense, but this is grace. I about passed out, because let me tell y'all, I was trying to comprehend. Like, sir, why is it that you're still wanting to love me? Like, why is it that you're still wanting to bless me? Why is it that, you're telling me or giving me the desires that I have? Like, I'm undeserving of this. Like, I don't understand. And it's like that moment, it hit me. Like, it makes no sense, but this is grace. Like, it may not make sense to you, but baby girl, this is grace. And I'm just like, Lord, you're right. Okay. Like, help me to understand grace. And that was almost 2 years ago. And it wasn't until I was on this fast back in June 7th, went on a fast. And that week, He then went into detail on what grace was. And I'm like, dang, like, this is grace? Like, this is what you meant? Like, I'm sitting here like, oh, this is grace. Like, no, like, He had to really dive deeper with me to give me better comprehension to where I could understand on a personal level and so forth. So yeah, I really hope that answered your question, because I kind of
It did. No, it definitely did. It's unmerited and undeserving. Because sometimes I think we overcomplicate things. It's like, okay, so I understand this is grace. Like he graced me for this. But what does grace mean? And his, like, it's simple: unmerited, undeserved. You can't earn it,
You
and you
cannot.
don't deserve it.
Exactly. And I think that's where a lot of people get confused. And that's something that I really try to focus on. That's something you really cannot earn. Like, that's just given. It's either you're going to accept it or you're not. And I mean, it's just best if you accept it, because let me tell you, it's just so much flows from that. But
So with you having that encounter with God and understanding this is grace, how have you been able to live a crowned life since then? Like, what does crowned in the form of this is grace looks like to you? What does that mean?
honestly, just being able to just understanding that I'm his daughter. Like, yeah, he's the one on the throne, but he's like, I got a crown for you too. Like, your blood, this is a bloodline thing. And so I feel like, in a sense, it's just helped me in so many ways. And it's just like, even though I would never measure up to him, it's still a thing of, I still find you worthy. I still find you to be royalty. So I've learned, I'm not all the way there yet, but learning how to really see myself in the way that he sees me, like flaws and all. Like, there was a crown made just for me, just like, each and every individual. So that's what that looks like, and just really trying to keep my head up, because it's easy to get tied down in society. It really is.
So, and that definitely is going to lead me to my next question, because we go from realizing, God, you are amazing. God, you have this for me. You call me to this purpose. And then we start trying to build out a whole strategy. We have a social media strategy, a calendar strategy. We're going to conferences. We're networking, trying to force our way into rooms. And then we find ourselves exhausted and unfulfilled. So what does rest looks like in the middle of trying to fulfill the purpose that he has for you?
Letting him do it. I know that sounds just like what, but to elaborate on that, I've even learned recently with trying to rebrand, and I'm like, oh, I want it to be this, I want it to be that. And it's just like, at the end of the day, he's given that vision. So it's like, you need to still turn back to him, ask him what it is that he wants, and allow him to speak. Like, but that requires you to sit still. And that was hard for me, because I'm a busybody. I'm so used to doing things. And like, it's like, if I'm not doing nothing, it's like, dang, am I really grinding the way that I'm supposed to be? And it gets hard because, in society, they try to make it as though if you're not grinding, if you're not putting in work round clock, they say, what is sleep is for the rich, I believe, or is it sleep is for the poor? I think it's sleep is for the rich. So if you ain't rich yet, you don't need to be sleeping. And I'm just like, I gotta sleep. Like, it's gotta get, like, I'm not about to, I've been there before, from school to the ministry, and it's caused nothing but pain, draining me mentally, physically. Rest is definitely essential, but not only physical rest, but just learning to rest in him and trust in his plan.
So you say you've been there before, between school and ministry. Before you learned how to sit, give us like a tentative of agenda of what your day would look like, and compared to now when you're resting in him.
All right. So getting up at 8:00 in the morning, well, really my class was for 8:00, taking 20 plus hours. So I would be campus was a 30-minute drive. So I would have to be up typically around 6 to kind of get myself together. 8:00 class to 5:00 with an hour break, which was 12:30 to probably 1:30. And then after I get out of class, majority of the times I probably had one day off every week, which was every Friday. And I would drive back to New Orleans and work 2 jobs. The waitressing job that I did have, I was there typically until maybe midnight, sometimes a little later. and drive back to BR because I had class, and I was in class like every day. So it was one of those things where it was just always a back and forth. And one morning I fell asleep behind the wheel, or one night I fell asleep behind the wheel and wrecked my car. So that was a little wake up call for me. Like, you need to rest. Like, something's gotta go. Like, I wasn't even in my word. I was on the go. And so like, I felt like I just couldn't do it. But it was like I was trying to take control of everything, you know, from work to school. And I talked about this in a video that I did a while back, on trying to do God's job, because I work to pay for tuition. And so I picked up another job thinking that that was going to pay the tuition. And let me tell you, when he gathered my life, I was like, sir, when he got finished with me, I really had to look at him and be like, can you give me my edges back, please? Like, cause
He snapped your edges.
Snatched me all the way up. I do not work there anymore. Let's just say that. But he really had to teach me, like, baby girl, I need you to sit still, and I can do so much more when you sit still and just rest in me. Like, just rest in me. So I just started getting back into my word and focusing on school and just trying to allow him to do what he do best. And sure enough, he did so much more with so much less.
So how do you rest in him besides getting into his word? Because some people may be like, well, I don't know if I could read the Bible. I used to think that like the Bible is hard to read. However, I had to find the version that speaks to me the most. So in what other ways would you advise someone to get in communication with God besides potentially, you know, reading a Bible?
So quiet time is my absolute favorite thing. First off, I love me a good scented candle. Catch them. You can catch them on sale. I'm pretty sure like Bath and Body Works, like mad cheap. But y'all, a good scented candle, clean, fresh room, cool breeze, fresh shower. You can throw your mask on and just silence, disconnect. I know it's hard for many people to disconnect from, you know, social media and things like that, but disconnecting will just, that alone will allow him to speak to you. That will start at least, I feel like everybody, trying to figure out how to put this, because for everybody, it's different for everyone, but you have to create the environment for him to speak. So if you're not creating the environment, it's kind of like, are you trying to listen to him? Are you trying to spend that time with him? Because he's always speaking. So just creating that environment, just being intentional about that. I mean, it looks different for everyone. If that means going outside more in the yard and just letting that be your personal time, like, you speak to him in the way that you know best. He's there, he's listening.
Yeah. And I think that that's important too, because sometimes it's not that he's not there. We're so clogged up with things that we don't even have the room or the capacity to receive what he's trying to give us.
Exactly.
So I could definitely relate to that, because I started reading the Bible through the Bible app. And that's how I found which version works for me. Instead of buying 30 Bibles, you just go through the Bible app and find which one works. And then I started with the 3-day. Like, I'm not about to start out doing the 30-day. I'm gonna start out with 3-day, then I'm gonna matriculate to 5 days, then I'm gonna matriculate to 7 days. So I did what worked for me, and like you say, creating that environment that welcomes him in. That's important. So I want you to move to like telling us you've elaborated on this a little bit, but I want you to go deeper. What are some of the positive things that can happen in your life and even in your business when you allow yourself to rest in God?
I'm not gonna lie, my biggest thing has been peace. Like, I've never encountered like real peace until I learned to just rest in him. And And it's something, it's just like, oh, people always like are talking about peace and happiness, but like it's a different thing when it's his peace, or, you know, the joy that he's given, and you're not relying on something or someone. Is, I don't know, it just hit different. And that's just been the positive for me, as far as not only just resting physically, but just resting in him. Just peace of
Yeah.
mind.
I always used to, well, in my last book project that I was a part of, I wrote, if it cost you your peace, it's too expensive.
Period.
Yeah. So let's go into the negative effects. Looking, now that you have this peace, what do you think were the negative things that you were experiencing as a result of not resting in God?
I'm not gonna lie to you. My character. I was not representing God at all when it came to me not resting. And I say that because my attitude just wasn't reflecting him. My ways weren't reflecting like him, or
I like that. Yeah, I like that.
know if it.
Yeah, no, I heard you.
Okay, I was like, man, I don't know what it is, because it just like shut down, and I'm like, oh man.
No,
like,
you're good. You're good. You're good.
negative.
So with, because the goal is for us to be like him.
Exactly.
The goal, so the ramification of not properly resting, or even not properly resting in him, is the fact that we don't become like him.
Exactly.
I like that.
That was my biggest thing. When I was sitting there reflecting, I was just like writing like a few things, like, you know, I was hurting myself and the possibility of hurting others. You know, work wasn't getting done, or if it was half getting done, but I wasn't able to work to the best of my ability. It was draining me mentally and physically, and my emotions were all over the, like everywhere. And I just wasn't able to give my best self. And it wasn't fair to, you know, not only me, but to other people that are receiving on the other side of the ministry. It just wasn't fair to them. I can't pour into them if I'm empty.
Ooh, that's good. So as a result of you now resting, how are you able to fulfill the calling that God has on your life?
I feel like whenever people reach out now, or when I have conversations, I'm able to actually respond, or just take a moment, like allow him to just work through me. Like it's different, and it's something that I enjoy doing, like in a sense of, I just enjoy serving others, or just being used as a vessel. Like that's just my thing. And so honestly, it's truly just one of those things that's indescribable. Like, man, if everybody could experience the same, like, I know that y'all can. They, like, it can be done, but you got to create the environment. Just welcome him in. That's it. Like, Lord, I welcome you. That's it.
And have an open heart.
Exactly.
Having, it's all about the heart posture of it.
And you're right.
Your heart has to be able to receive, not just the way that, not just him, but the way that he's going to do it too. Because sometimes we want to receive him, but we want it done the way we want it done.
Right. And let me tell you, he quick to hit you with a left one, like not even expecting it. You were like, oh. I'm so sorry.
I love that. I love that analogy, because he will come complete, like you just don't see it. You really, it's like you're sideswiped. It's like your whole car is just sideswiped. So I love that analogy, because that's the thing. We be shocked. We be so shocked at what he did, but honestly, what he did is better for us.
Right. Yes. Like I was just talking to my friend today. We were discussing the word good, and I was like, he is good. Like, we think good is like, oh, that's good. Like, but his level of good is a completely different thing. That's a completely different expectation. Like, it ain't the same. Like, they're not equal.
Right, right. And we have to understand that and trust that. We have to understand it and trust that. So my last question would be for you is, how can people connect with you? Where can they find you?
PS thisisgrace.com, which is the blog. The social media is also attached, which is at PS This Is Grace. Or if you'd like to search the personal page, it is at Made Well, which is MADE with an X WELL.
I'm super, super, super excited. Thank you. Thank you
Oh,
for
thank you.
coming to share your transparency. Thank you for being vulnerable with us, but also providing strategies for us to not just rest, but rest in God so that we could experience his grace and the jewels that he has for us within our crowns.
No problem. Anytime. Thank you for having me.